Imagine walking through a supermarket aisle, lined with rows of shiny cans of golden sweet corn, or grabbing a chilled bottle of crisp apple juice from the fridge on a hot summer afternoon. These foods feel so everyday, so normal, that we rarely stop to wonder about the incredible journey they take before they land in our kitchens. Behind every can of corn and every bottle of apple juice is a fascinating process that combines farming tradition, cutting-edge technology, and some of the strictest food safety practices in the world. Americans eat millions of tons of canned corn each year and drink over 500 million gallons of apple juice. But few people realize just how much planning and precision goes into every bite and sip. Today, let's pull back the curtain and step inside the fields, factories, and processing plants that transform simple harvests into the foods we love. Every year, farmers grow enough corn to fill more than 1.5 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. It's a mind-blowing amount, and yet, not all of that corn is destined for livestock or ethanol. A large portion is grown specifically for sweet corn, the tender, juicy variety we enjoy in cans or frozen bags. The story of canned corn begins in the spring with a single seed. Farmers carefully select varieties bred for their soft, sugary kernels and then prepare their soil with nutrients to encourage healthy growth. Sweet corn in the U.S. is usually planted in March and April, and timing is everything. By late summer, more than 268,000 acres of sweet corn across the country will yield around 2.9 billion pounds a year, making the United States the world's largest producer. Harvesting sweet corn isn't as simple as pulling ears off the stalk. Farmers have to hit the perfect milk stage. That brief window when the kernels are plump, juicy, and bursting with flavor. Press a kernel with your thumb and you should see a milky liquid ooze out. That's the signal it's ready. Wait too long and that sweetness vanishes as the sugars quickly convert into starch, leaving you with bland, tough corn. From mid-August to October, specialized corn harvesters roll through the fields, their blades slicing stalks just above the ground, while rollers pull ears off with surprising gentleness. These massive machines can gather up to 140 tons of corn per day. Trucks drive alongside, keeping pace with the harvesters to catch the cascading ears before whisking them away to nearby factories. Freshness is crucial. Most canned corn is processed within 4 hours of harvest to lock in taste and nutrition. Once those ears arrive at the plant, the real transformation begins. Conveyor belts carry mountains of cobs toward husking machines that peel away leaves and silky threads in seconds. Air jets and brushes finish the job, leaving rows of clean, shining corn. Fun fact, during the American Civil War, dried corn cobs were sometimes brewed as a coffee substitute when beans were scarce. Today, however, these husks and leftover cobs are far from waste. They're often recycled as animal feed or even biofuel. Next comes shelling, where kernels are sliced off the cob with rapid precision. High-speed cutters strip more than a ton of kernels per hour, and with millions of ears moving through daily, the output looks like a golden river flowing endlessly down the line. Workers monitor the machinery constantly, pausing twice a day to clean and sharpen blades. Quality control is strict. Discolored or damaged kernels are immediately removed to make sure only the best reach your table. But before those kernels can be sealed in cans, they need a quick spa treatment. Blanching briefly bathing the corn in boiling water or steam stops natural enzymes from breaking down color and flavor. It's like hitting a pause button on freshness. After 4 to 5 minutes of blanching, the kernels are plunged into icy water, locking in that bright yellow color and sweet taste. From there, they tumble into sterilized cans where they're bathed in a light brine made of water, sugar, and salt. This brine doesn't just add flavor. It preserves texture and helps the corn stay fresh for years. Sealing the cans is a high-tech marvel in itself. Rotary filling machines pack 300 to 450 cans a minute, leaving just enough headspace for expansion. Double-seam sealing machines then crimp the lids shut under intense heat and pressure, creating an airtight barrier. Some factories even vacuum seal the cans, removing oxygen to prevent spoilage. Once sealed, the cans are cooked in massive autoclaves at around 250 degrees Fahrenheit, sterilizing the contents so thoroughly that canned corn can last up to 5 years without losing quality. After rapid cooling, each can is inspected by metal detectors, weighed for accuracy, and labeled with batch codes, nutritional details, and expiration dates. Finally, the cans are boxed, stacked, and shipped to supermarkets nationwide. Just one facility can produce 42 million cans annually, ensuring that no matter the season, you can enjoy the sweet crunch of corn at your dinner table. While corn is a staple of American farming, apple juice tells a story of orchards, tradition, and innovation. Americans drink more than 500 million gallons of apple juice every year, making it one of the country's most popular fruit beverages. But that golden drink in your glass doesn't start in a factory. It begins in sprawling orchards filled with trees heavy with ripe fruit. Popular varieties like Gala, Fuji, Golden Delicious, and Granny Smith are chosen not only for their balance of sweetness and tartness, but also for their juicing qualities. When harvest season arrives, apples are picked and rushed to processing plants because, just like corn, freshness makes all the difference. At the plant, apples are sorted for quality, washed thoroughly to remove dirt and pesticides, and then crushed into a pulp called mash. 1 bushel of apples, round 42 pounds, can yield nearly 3 gallons of juice. To get every last drop, modern factories rely on hydraulic presses, which exert tremendous pressure to squeeze juice from the mash. The raw juice is then clarified. Natural pectin in apples tends to make juice cloudy, so processors use enzymes to break it down. Centrifuges spin the juice at high speeds to separate out solids, while filters remove tiny particles, leaving behind that crystal-clear golden liquid most of us recognize. Some producers also use carbon or clay filtration to enhance color and purity without stripping flavor. Next, the juice undergoes pasteurization, a vital step for safety and shelf life. By quickly heating the liquid and then cooling it again, harmful bacteria are destroyed while flavor and nutrients remain intact. This method, perfected by Thomas Bramwell Welch in the late 1800s, originally helped prevent grape juice from fermenting into wine, and today is a cornerstone of juice production. After pasteurization, apple juice is either bottled immediately or concentrated by evaporating water content, allowing it to be shipped globally and later reconstituted. Every step of the apple juice process is designed to balance efficiency with flavor. Conveyor belts move bottles at dizzying speeds, filling hundreds per minute. Caps are sealed airtight to keep freshness locked in, while labels provide consumers with essential information like origin, nutritional value, and expiration dates. Just like with corn, strict safety tests ensure that every bottle reaching the shelf meets the highest standards. And with Americans consuming hundreds of millions of gallons annually, the industry has perfected a process that blends tradition with science. Think about it, from the golden fields of corn in Iowa to the lush apple orchards of Washington State. These everyday foods connect us to the land, to farmers, and to innovations that ensure we have access to fresh-tasting produce year-round. A single can of corn contains kernels that were carefully bred, harvested at just the right moment, blanched, sealed, sterilized, and tested all within hours of leaving the field. A single bottle of apple juice represents the work of generations of orchardists, modern engineers, and food safety experts who make sure each sip tastes as good as the last. Have you ever taken a sip of cold apple juice on a hot day and wondered about the incredible journey that golden drink made before reaching your glass? Or maybe you've stared at a can of Spam on the grocery shelf and thought, what exactly is that stuff, and why has it been around for so long? Behind every bottle of apple juice and every can of Spam lies a fascinating story filled with history, science, clever innovations, and a lot of surprising twists. These are everyday products in American kitchens, but their pasts are far richer than most people realize. Apple juice, with its crisp and refreshing sweetness, and Spam, the legendary canned meat with a fan base that stretches across the globe. Both reveal just how much tradition, culture, and food science go into the things we sometimes take for granted. The story of apple juice begins in orchards across the United States, where apples ripen under cool nights and sunny days. Washington State, often called the apple capital of the country, grows more than half of America's apples. The unique climate there allows apples to slowly develop sugars and flavors, creating the perfect base for juices loved by millions. Once harvested, apples are washed, pressed, and filtered. But making the juice safe and long-lasting requires more than just squeezing fruit. Modern processing ensures the juice stays fresh without losing that crisp taste Americans expect. The key step is pasteurization, heating the juice to around 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Then cooling it quickly to lock in flavor while destroying harmful microbes. This balance between safety and taste is why you can grab a bottle off the store shelf and know it will taste just like the day it was made. Sometimes, before packaging, the juice goes through concentration, where water is carefully evaporated to reduce volume, making it cheaper and easier to ship across the country or even overseas. Later, water is added back to recreate the original flavor. Some brands avoid concentration altogether, marketing themselves as never from concentrate to appeal to people looking for the purest taste. Whether from concentrate or not, the final step is bottling. Juice is poured into sterile bottles or cartons using aseptic filling technology, which seals the liquid in a contamination-free environment, extending shelf life without preservatives. Labels are applied, batches are tested for flavor, sugar, and acidity, and only then do those bottles make their way to grocery aisles. The consistency from bottle to bottle is no accident. It's the result of decades of refining the process and hundreds of quality checks along the way. Certain brands stand out in the American market. Martinelli's, for example, is a family-owned company that has been making apple juice since 1868, long before Welch's became famous for pasteurizing juices. Martinelli's iconic apple-shaped bottles and sparkling juice have become a staple at family gatherings and holidays. Their juice is made only from U.S.-grown apples, using a blend of sweet and tart varieties for balance. Simply, Apple takes a different approach, focusing on the freshly pressed angle. They pride themselves on never using concentrate and avoiding added sugar or preservatives. The result is juice that tastes almost like biting directly into an apple. These brands are successful not only because of marketing, but because of the heritage of apple growing in America, where the fruit's roots stretch back centuries. Apples themselves have a remarkable history. Their wild ancestor, Malus sieversii, still grows in Central Asia, particularly Kazakhstan, where small, bitter, wild apples resemble the starting point for every variety we know today. Through trade, migration, and cultivation, apples spread into Europe, where cider became a popular drink. The idea of apple juice as a non-alcoholic product owes a lot to Dr. Thomas Bramwell Welch, a dentist and physician who in 1869 figured out how to pasteurize grape juice to keep it from fermenting into wine. His technique was later applied to apple juice, making it possible to safely bottle and store juice without it turning alcoholic. That innovation transformed apple juice into a drink for all ages and made it a staple in American households. It's not just a beverage. It's part of a cultural legacy that ties orchards, technology, and tradition together. In mythology, apples were tied to love, beauty, and desire, often linked with the goddess Aphrodite in Greek tales. In American culture, as American as Apple pie became a saying that symbolized comfort and tradition. Apple juice carries some of that same cultural weight, sweet, reliable, and tied to family memories. Next time you sip it, you're tasting not only fruit, but also centuries of agricultural progress and a piece of history bottled just for you. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, let's talk about Spam. Spam is perhaps one of the most polarizing foods in America. Some people can't imagine eating it, while others swear by its salty, savory flavor. Yet, with over 8 billion cans sold worldwide since its invention, Spam is undeniably a cultural icon. Its history begins in 1937, when J. Hormel, the son of Hormel Foods founder, had an idea. Pork shoulder was an underused cut of meat, tough to cook and not very popular. By grinding it, mixing it with ham, and canning it in smaller portions, Hormel created an affordable protein source that didn't require refrigeration. It was an innovation born out of the economic struggles of the Great Depression. When people needed cheap, long-lasting food, Spam became especially important during World War II, when over 150 million pounds were shipped to U.S. troops overseas. Soldiers ate it daily, sometimes 3 times a day, and though many grew tired of it, Spam kept them fed during tough times. It wasn't just food, became a tool. Soldiers used Spam grease to lubricate weapons and waterproof boots. Wherever the military went, Spam went too, introducing it to countries like South Korea, Guam, and Hawaii. Long after the war, Spam remained a beloved part of the cuisine in these regions. In Hawaii, Spam musubi, slices of fried Spam on rice wrapped with seaweed, became a local classic. Guam still consumes more Spam per capita than anywhere else, with the average person eating around 16 cans a year. In South Korea, Spam took on a surprising status as a luxury gift, often included in beautifully wrapped New Year gift boxes. What began as a humble canned meat became, in some places, a symbol of care and respect. But what exactly is Spam made of? Despite its mystery meat reputation, Spam is surprisingly simple. Pork with ham, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrite. That's it. The sodium nitrite is what gives Spam its pink color and helps prevent harmful bacterial growth, while potato starch helps bind the meat for its iconic texture. The production process is highly automated. Fresh pork shoulder and ham arrive at Hormel's plants in Minnesota and Iowa, where the meat is deboned, ground, and chilled to just above freezing. It's mixed into massive 8,000-pound batches combined with the seasonings, and vacuum mixed to remove air, which helps preserve moisture and freshness. The mixture is funneled into cans, vacuum sealed, and cooked right inside the can in a hydrostatic cooker that can handle over 33,000 cans per hour. Once cooled, labeled, and boxed, the Spam is ready to ship worldwide. Spam cans have a nearly indefinite shelf life if stored properly, though most are best within 5 years of the best by date. That durability makes it popular, not just in kitchens, but also in emergency preparedness kits. In fact, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Spam sales surged as people stocked up on foods that were affordable, versatile, and could last for years without refrigeration. Hormel has also expanded Spam's appeal with flavors like teriyaki, jalapeño, and hickory smoke, adapting to changing tastes while keeping its original recipe intact. Marketing has been another key to Spam survival. The iconic blue and yellow label hasn't changed much since the 1930s, making it instantly recognizable. Events like the Waikiki Spam Jam Festival in Hawaii celebrate Spam with parades, cooking competitions, and live music, proving it's more than just a food it's part of pop culture. Of course, Spam has its critics. Nutritionists point out its high sodium and fat content, and studies have linked excessive consumption of processed meats to health risks. That's why most people enjoy it in moderation. Hormel has introduced lower sodium and lower fat versions, but the original remains the top seller because of its flavor and nostalgic appeal. For many, Spam is more than meat in a can. It's a reminder of family meals, late-night snacks, or even survival during hard times. The Spam Museum in Austin, Minnesota, attracts fans from around the world, showcasing the brand's quirky history, global impact, and enduring popularity. Walking through its exhibits is like stepping into a timeline of American food history, complete with interactive displays and, of course, samples. So whether it's the crisp, refreshing sweetness of apple juice or the salty, savory comfort of Spam, both products tell a story about America's food culture. They represent resilience, creativity, and the ability to take something ordinary and turn it into a household name. The next time you crack open a can of Spam or pour a glass of apple juice, you're not just eating or drinking, you're taking part in a tradition that spans generations. These foods connect orchards, farms, factories, soldiers, families, and cultures in ways few others do. They've been staples during wars, symbols of celebration, and comforts during crises. And they continue to evolve, adapting to new tastes while never losing touch with their roots.